Consistency over everything. Self-awareness is a must. And you always gotta keep it real. These are the keys. This is the Continual Growth Podcast. I'm Bawanka, I'm with Z.
Yup, episode 22.
Oh shit, we got a hot episode coming out. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day.
Yep.
Z, how you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic, man. I'm excited. This is going to be a great episode. How are you feeling?
Yo, I'm feeling incredible. Last episode was fire. We did our first video episode. Now we're nice with it. So
for sure. So let me quickly introduce our special guest today. So this is a guy that I've known for about 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. Going back to Instagram days. So this is like we followed each other on Instagram. We hadn't even met in person, and we'd been following each other for about a year or so. And I kept telling myself, like, this is a guy that I got to meet. I got to keep this guy in my circle. We ended up working together at a previous company, and now we've grown into a really strong bond. And it's been fun to have you in my life. I can speak for that, and I know we've talked about how dope this fucking guy is. So
yeah, Charan inspires me.
Yeah, man. So Charan, welcome to the podcast.
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
We're good, man. We're good. More importantly, how are you doing?
I'm feeling beautiful.
That's what's up. To give the people a little more context, why don't you kind of introduce yourself? Let us know, who is Charan?
I'm CHARAN SINGH. I'm an elite personal trainer, youth mentor, sponsored athlete. More importantly, I like to consider myself a good human being.
I love that. That was a sharp answer. Okay, so let me actually jump into that. What do you mean by? Because when people are listening,
you make them sound so simple, but really they're way crazier than what you just said.
For sure. Like when people hear elite personal trainer, right? What does that mean versus someone who's just a regular personal trainer?
Because I like to consider I have standards for myself. I've been a trainer long enough to put myself in a league of my own. I'm not focused on what other trainers are doing. I create my own path. I got trainers behind me looking up to me, so I consider myself an elite.
Okay, I love that. And then when you said that, you're also a good human being, right? I think this one we can unpack a little bit and dive a little bit into that. But what do you mean by that? Like, why would you classify yourself a good human being, and what constitutes a good human being?
So I know what I've been through. I know what my values are. I know what my morals are. And I know that my heart is gold and my intentions are to help other people. And I think that establishes myself as a good human being. Yes, I can be great, but I'm always a work in progress.
I like that.
Okay. Also, you were talking about your races.
Yes.
I think you got to dive a little bit deeper into that because you do some crazy shit.
Yes. So going back to introducing myself, I said I was a sponsored athlete. I do obstacle racing competitively. So the races are very intense, ranging from 5 kilometers to 52 kilometers in the mountains.
God damn.
So it's just no
Hold
gear.
on. People aren't understanding what that. Like they just hear like 5 kilometers, 52 kilometers. They're like, oh, okay, that sounds really hard. No, it's way harder than you can imagine. Take us through the big race, the one that you went through that's fucking insane.
Yes.
Take us through that one because
so that was the Ultra Beast.
To put that in perspective,
go ahead. The Ultra Beast is 52 kilometers. The one I did it twice. Once in Owl's Head, Montreal, and in Hawaii. Now it's not just running. It's in the mountains, right? So you're climbing. There's obstacles. There's about 60 obstacles. So you're carrying things. You're going through monkey bars and rigs, crawling, swimming. There's all sorts of stuff that your human body.
How many hours did you say it is?
You have 15 hours max. So.
God damn, 15 hours
of
straight work, obstacles.
Yeah, no phone, no nothing, just straight movement.
That is beyond what most people can even fathom. Like, to put into perspective, like when people think of like a really hard workout, right? It was fucking hard. Oh my God, I died in that workout. What was it, an hour?
1 hour.
Right? It was an hour, right? We're talking about hours on hours on hours. Yeah, like this is, it's different level training.
Most people are not even awake for 15 hours.
Right.
Let's put it that way. So
right. And you're moving at a high level.
Trying
right?
To, yeah.
I like that. How did you get into obstacle course racing?
I just wanted to challenge myself. All right. One of my good friends who I do it with, Mike, he was like, yeah, let's try this out. So we did it. I think I was like shoulder width in mud, walking through mud, going underneath barbed wire. And I was like, yo, Mike, I didn't sign up for this shit. Crossed the finish line. I'm like, yo, when's the next one?
Oh, shit.
When's the next one? We did 1 that year. The next year we did 4.
So what changed? So you're midway through the race and you're like, what the fuck? I didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
Now you go through the finish line. You're like, when's the next one?
Yeah, sense of accomplishment. Pride in like pushing myself past what I thought was normal and then coming out the other end a better person.
Okay, so when you're in these races, like, you're in there and you're probably like dying, because I think of me when I'm just running or just working out, I feel like I'm dying and I just want to stop. Like, what's going through your head when you're in these races?
Just, you have to remember your why. We've all had it before. Remember your why. Know what your why is. When you know why you do something, your mindset changes. All right, you have a reason to do it, and I think that reason alone will push you a little bit more further than what you usually give.
You know, this is one of my favorite topics. So we're going to focus on this for a little bit. So when you just mentioned there knowing your why and how it influences your mindset.
Yeah.
Unpack that for me. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean from, like, because there's people that'll say, you know, okay, yeah, but I know I want to lose weight. I know why I want to lose weight. I still don't fucking want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person in reference to what you're talking about?
So why do they want to lose weight? Why do you want to lose weight? Let's
say I got to go to summer. I want to be able to take my shirt off at the beach and feel confident about it.
Why?
Because if I do that, then I'll feel like I don't have to hide at the beach.
Why are you currently hiding at the beach?
Because I don't feel confident with the way that I look with my shirt off.
And how does that make you feel?
I feel horrible about it.
So losing weight will do the complete opposite. How will you feel when you lose weight?
I'll feel amazing, I'm sure.
Okay, so that's what your why is. All right, ultimately, if you break it down and you ask yourself and you be honest and you ask yourself the right questions, you'll get the right answers.
I love that we just fucking did that. I knew where you were going with it, and I'm like, I'm down. I'm playing.
That's why I turned to the side. I was like, all right, okay.
No, because it's so important, you know, like there's when you decide what you want, which is the most important step, right, in self-development. Once you understand what you want, developing that clear understanding of why, on those days when you're like, oh, fuck it. On those days when you're like, I don't want to. On those days when you're like, I've done enough, it's okay. On those days when you're like, man, I'd rather do this. On those days when you're like, I'm going to eat some shitty food. On all of those days, when you're clear on your why, you have a clear path forward. You know what you need to do.
You know what you need to do.
And to me, it becomes troubling for me when people don't go through that exercise.
Yeah. And this is something I'm passionate about. Motivation gets nothing done. Okay? Motivation will just get you started. Yep. Dedication is what will get you where you need to be. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, people see what I do, but the thing is they don't realize that dedication is what wakes me up in the morning. Mm-hmm. When I don't want to. When it's dark outside and it's snowy and I gotta drive 40 kilometers to the gym, dedication is what gets me up, brushing my teeth, get up, go to the gym.
Yep.
Okay? Dedication is what makes me meal prep when I just want to go have fast food.
That's right.
So I'm human too. There's times that I'm not motivated. I'm very uninspired, but I know my why and I stay dedicated to my why.
I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, I always say, motivation is bullshit because if you're relying on a variable that can come and go, on a variable that can, be really high or really low in your ability to realize your dreams. If you're relying on that to me is that's a risk point.
Yeah.
And why would you rely on something that can falter, that can change? Dedication built on an understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. How you feel doesn't fucking matter. What you think doesn't fucking matter. All that matters is you getting it done. Whatever getting it done is, because you know why you need to do it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
But now let me ask you another question. How do you stay dedicated?
See, to me, the clearest way to do that is knowing where I'm trying to go. And for me to know where I'm trying to go, my goals give me that clarity, right? To know where I'm trying to go, and then taking a step further, we always talk about goal setting and why it's so important. I think you also have to, on top of goal setting, make it very clear why that specific goal matters to you. Because, like I said, man, and you proved it, we've all proved it in our daily lives, but human beings, we naturally, we have moments where we're fucking peaking, we feel like we're performing at our optimal best, and we have some days where we're like, fuck this, I don't want to do nothing, I don't want to get out of bed, right? And both of those times, you have to be able to know what needs to be done and get that done first, regardless of how you feel. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And to expand on that, what keeps me dedicated is a quote that is constantly running through my mind throughout the whole day. Your destiny is defined by your daily decisions.
I love that.
Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Your destiny is defined by your daily decisions. Now, if you have bad decisions, your destiny is still defined from that because you made a bad decision.
Yes.
If you make a good decision, your destiny is going to be defined by that. So that's what keeps me dedicated on staying on the right path. All right.
Oh, yeah. You must have some good habits.
That's exactly that. And again, with habit is a choice. It's a decision that you choose to make on a daily basis. All right. And we don't get in life what we do occasionally. We get in life what we do consistently. And that's what habits are.
Straight up. I love that. And you know what that feeds into, because I love the idea of philosophies and building your mantra and the way that you look at life around philosophies. And mine is similar to what yours is. I often get hung up in my thoughts, and I think a lot of people do, right? So I've told myself and I've trained myself to realize that I'm not my thoughts. I am what I do.
Exactly.
And to know that what I do is going to feed into my destiny, like you're talking about, there's a powerful correlation between those two philosophies, and that's why we see the world the way we see it. You know what I mean? And I think it's something that, like you just proved, it's a choice. Yeah. It's a choice to look at the world a certain way. It's a choice to look at life a certain way, and it's a choice to carry yourself in the ways that produce the life that you want. Beautiful. Absolutely. And since we're talking about philosophies, I know your whole thing is warrior wisdom.
Yes.
Right? I would love for you to explain what warrior wisdom is.
Okay, a warrior is, in my opinion, someone who doesn't take any shit from anybody or anything, all right? A warrior is someone who doesn't settle for anything less than what they deserve. Okay, and the wisdom part of it is this. So knowledge is something you acquire. All right, and again, this is just my opinion and my kind of perspective on it. Wisdom is the knowledge that you acquire, but you apply. Okay, so warrior wisdom, you're not taking anything. Your life isn't dictated by other people's opinions, and you're taking what you've learned from your obstacles and your hardships and your circumstances, and you're applying that to becoming the best possible version of yourself. That's what warrior wisdom is.
I fucking love that. That's the type of philosophy that I think people could just read in a paragraph and be very clear on what it is. And that to me that's one of the best philosophies. That's where they come from. Yeah. They're rooted in simplicity, right? And sometimes people have these ridiculous philosophies like, no days off. I think no days off is the biggest bullshit ever, okay? Because people who say that they don't take days off are the ones that usually don't work the hardest.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I say that knowing that, bro, and we've talked about this just before the podcast. We were talking about burnout. Yeah. There's only so many hours in the day. If you go full tilt, 100%, max out every single fucking day, you are not a robot. You're not a robot.
You're gonna burn out.
You're gonna burn out. Yeah. And when you can build around philosophies that make sense, that are kind of overarching, not just very linear, you can really make dramatic changes in life. I love that.
Sick. Yo, so we're really big on the mornings, right? You always gotta bang it out in the morning. You gotta win that first hour of the day. A lot of people struggle with waking up in the morning. Yeah. Do you struggle with that, or it's easy work for you?
I feel like everybody struggles in the morning, but that's what defines the winners and the losers, right? Whether you're willing to get up or not, pretty much. Okay, all right. Sick. Because my perspective on the morning is this: whether you wake up at 4, 6, or 9, you're still gonna be tired. Yeah. So why not wake up earlier?
Hell yeah.
Get more shit done. That's my perspective on it.
So what's your morning routine like?
Okay, I wake up and I spend
What time are you waking up at?
At the minute between 4:30 and 6. Damn. That's my morning time range. First thing I do, I just sit there. I just acknowledge that I'm awake. I didn't wake up by accident. I chose to wake up. My eyes are open. I sit there because a lot of people, they wake up by accident. They're like, oh, I'm up now? What time is it? Yep. No, I wake up with a purpose, right? So I acknowledge that I'm awake. I'm up. It's another day. I'm blessed to be alive. All right. Then I kind of communicate with myself that because the difference between the winners and losers, in my opinion, comes down to the way you communicate with yourself. So I sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to kind of go over the day in my head. I meditate. I say positive affirmations in my head. I pray. I get up. I either go for a run or I do a body weight workout just on the spot.
You got to start moving.
You got to move. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Emotion comes from motion. So when you're moving, that kind of drives the way you feel. So I'm starting my day off fresh. I shower up, have my breakfast. I'm a big advocate on habits. One beautiful habit that I'm proud of is as soon as I come down to my kitchen, I got my oatmeal ready, I got my coffee machine ready, I got my mug ready. All right. And I didn't do that the night before. I did that the morning before. So as soon as I'm done, put it in the dishwasher, get a bowl out, get a mug out, it's ready.
Hashtag stay ahead.
Stay ahead. Yeah, that's ready. As soon as I've done that, I'm fueled up. I drop my daughter off to preschool. I get straight to work, and it's full steam ahead, man.
How do you? And let me ask you a question. I'm sure it's happened before, where because that sounds like an incredible morning routine, and I'm sure that you execute that morning routine consistently most of your life.
Yeah.
Right. On the days where you don't follow through with that morning routine, how do you feel?
I feel scattered. I feel scrambled up because I feel like I'm a slave to my schedule after that. You're just trying to play catch up.
Yeah,
you're trying to play catch up.
And that's, to me, that's, not having a morning routine. And I get it, right? Like I come from that traditional mindset, that this growth mindset that I have now and that we've developed and we all share. This is new to us, right? We came from a world where we did think kind of like how most people think.
Yeah, the no days off mentality.
Yeah, right. And
we've all been
and most people just wake up. Like they just literally wake up and they give themselves enough time to shower and get ready to work.
Yeah.
Like there's no focus on making sure that they're prepared to attack the day, to have the right energy for the day. If you don't prepare yourself to be your best before you go out and attack your day, then you're not going to be able to win the day the way that you can, that you're capable of. It's just the way that it works, right? And I think like developing a morning routine it's so important. And you said it. I love how you said it, right? Like everybody wakes. It doesn't matter if you wake up at 4, at 5, at 6. It doesn't matter. Right? Like I don't think it matters what time you wake up. I think it matters how you win the first few hours of whatever time you wake up.
It's just that when you wake up a little bit earlier, the minutes become like hours.
I agree.
Everybody's asleep. You get so much more done.
Yeah,
now,
bother you.
Like how you said, we're all firm advocates of habits. Now, there's bad habits too.
Yeah.
All right. Because we all love habits. But waking up early to me is a high performance habit. And I think that is what is crucial from getting you from A to B. All right. Is a high performance habit.
And you're
being efficient.
Yeah. And I know you're as an elite trainer, elite athlete, you're about performance.
Yeah.
Right? When you go into your workouts,
you
don't just randomly do shit.
No.
Right? You've planned your workouts ahead of time. You have an idea of the rep range that you're going after, the different types of movements and how you're going to stack them all. You've planned that ahead of time.
Of course.
And, as someone that performs at a high level with that level of preparation, would you not agree that like preparation is like how you can succeed when opportunity comes your way?
Preparation is everything. You don't just randomly get ingredients and try to make something. That's what a recipe is. Recipe is preparation, right?
Now, success.
Exactly. Okay. So I've tried, cooking up a cake. I got all these ingredients and I just slapped it together and it wasn't a cake, it was a mess, right? So if you don't have your habits in line, if you don't have everything prepared, your day will be a mess.
Yeah.
All right. That's what it ultimately comes down to. But if everything is aligned up properly, and you know what, let's be honest, we're human. It's a process. It takes time. But the problem is that people try to do it. It's a mess. They give up. Try again. Now I can make a cake after the 14th time. All right. But now if I want to make a cake for my mom, boom, I'll make it because I know what the recipe is. I've done it so many times. Same thing with my day now. It took me years to get this in line.
You have to be okay with fucking sucking.
Yeah.
At whatever you want to do, you have to be okay with sucking at it. Like you just talked about the example with the cake, right? If you weren't okay with fucking up the recipe the first 13 times, the 14th time wouldn't have been bomb. You know what I mean? What I've noticed too with people who have achieved a high level of success in life and people who are out there trying to inspire others to do the same, it often comes from a place of something happening in their life, like whether it's tragedy, whether it's adversities. Like in our cases, we grew up low income, and I'm sure you've got that same background in your story. I would love for you to kind of take us back to what the fuck. How did you go from that average mindset to somebody who's got his own mantras and philosophies that he lives by and is truthfully inspiring others to do the same? What happened? Give us the backstory.
Pain. That's what happened. All right. So I created a quote. I don't even know if this other people are using this quote, but I kind of came up with this in my mind, and it really drove me. Turn your pain into power. Okay, so whatever you're going through, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Mm-hmm. So I think at the end of the day, like, we all go through things, but how you kind of what you take away from it creates who you are. Mm-hmm. Right? Like,
I think a lot of times too, when that happens, it's like, in the moment, it might seem fucking terrible. It might seem like shit. But when you look back on it later, once everything's passed, maybe like a year later, you're like, yo, that was worth it. So
that was the best thing that happened. Yeah,
that helped me learn. It could be anything, but that's
and I know you're pretty open about your journey.
Yeah,
I would love for you to share.
How far back do you want me to go?
I want you to tell me, like, you just said that pain was your driving motivator. What pain? Describe that for us.
So, growing up, I got 2 older brothers, 1 older sister. Both my parents, love them. They're the best people on this planet, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, obviously. And I grew up, had a good childhood, had a great childhood. You know, there was always presents under the Christmas tree. My parents were the hardest working people I know. You know, I only know that now because of how hard I work. I'm like, damn, they still did all that.
Yeah.
You know? And then what happened was teenage years, got caught up in the wrong crowd like we all do, so on and so forth. But I was just bored. I knew I was smart. I was just so bored. But that made me kind of do the wrong things. And I was like, all right, I got to get out of this country. You know?
Where were you at the time?
England. I grew up in England. And I finished university 1 year ahead of everybody. And I'm like, what do I do with my life? Like, little did I know I was yearning growth. Right. I was literally starving I was like, I needed to grow. Took the risk, moved to Canada, forced myself to grow up. I'd never used a washing machine, never used, I didn't have no dishwasher, no nothing. So it forced me to really see, like, life out there. You know, new country, new everything. I still remember walking down Jane Street. It was a snowstorm. I had no winter jacket, no money, no cell phone. I saw a frozen dead cat on the floor. I had no idea where I was going. Jeez. And I'm just like, what do I do, man? What do I do? I was freezing. I had bruises on my face from the wind chill.
Right.
And that
especially if you didn't grow up here.
No, I didn't. That was my first winter. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. Man, I'll be fine. I didn't have winter boots, man. I was wearing Nike free runs.
Yeah.
So that kind of forced me. The weather didn't obviously force me to grow up, but like just being in certain circumstances, and that forced me to really grow up. You know, when I was living in a basement apartment, I used to have a map of Toronto, and I used to study Toronto, like the bus routes, the train routes, all the roads. Like, even now I can tell you everything about wherever, everything. Yeah. And little did I know that years to come, when I became a mobile trainer, I was whizzing in and out, client to client to client to client. You guys know about how that was. Like, so everything I went through, it's literally molded me to who I am now.
That's amazing. And you know what's amazing about that, and I'm really glad you shared that. I want to acknowledge that, because oftentimes people will hear stories from people who are performing at a high level, and they'll think that it's so out of reach. They hear stuff like waking up at 4:30 in the morning, having a wicked morning routine, all the various things we talk about in terms of, high level habits. People hear that and they think it's fucking impossible. Like, they're like, there's no way that I can do that. There's no way that I can make that happen.
They're not seeing that it's a journey to get there.
Exactly, and it's so important that people share that. Oftentimes, I remember when I had gone through a similar experience where I decided, like, enough's enough. I need to figure this out, right? And I read the books, I had been to the seminars, and I'm hearing these gurus talk about all the various things that we're talking about. And where I got stuck on was, okay, how? Okay, like, can you tell me practical things I can do? Like, what are some like actual things that I can do to put what you're saying into reality? And I would love for you to maybe share 2 or 3 tips in terms of, like, where can people start? Like, and I'll give you the backstory. A lot of people that come across Continual Growth, they're in that situation where they just feel like, I've done everything. I went to school, I got a job, I'm working towards what I think is a happy life, and they feel like something's missing. And that yearning for growth, I believe that's most people. I believe that's almost everybody. Because when we're younger, as we grow into high school and stuff, the whole time we're learning, we're growing. And as we become young adults, we stop growing.
Because we think we don't need to anymore.
We think we don't need to anymore. And we know that there's a yearning for it. Give like 2 or 3 tips, like where can people start?
Okay, I'm gonna go deep on this one.
I'm hopeful for it because off camera we have some intense combos. So I would love for this to be some serious warrior wisdom.
It comes down to two things, and if you can't do these two things, it's not gonna happen, right? And I'm sure you guys can agree. It's faith and delayed gratification. Okay? I slept on a fucking gym floor. Okay, I was using yoga blocks as a pillow. All right, now I'm a co-owner of a gym. Mm-hmm. Okay, I slept on the floor in a basement apartment, catching 3 buses to get to one fucking client. But I had faith. That's what it is. You have to believe that everything's going to be okay, but also follow that with action. All right, you can be a homeless person being like, everything's going to be okay. Have faith. But if you're not applying action, you're not going to get anywhere. All right, so that's where the delayed gratification comes in. You know, would you rather have a whole packet of cookies now? Would you rather have one cookie now or wait and have the whole packet later? I've always had that mindset. Like, you know what? Just keep putting in that work. My time will come. And the crazy thing is my time has come, but I don't even realize it because I'm still in that delayed gratification mindset. You know, everything nowadays is instant coffee, instant noodles, instant posting, right? So we live in that instant mindset. So we think that growth happens like that, you know, and people forget that the biggest, strongest trees were once a small seed deep down in darkness under the ground. So when I tell people this, when you feel like you're a fucking seed, when you feel like you're in darkness, you got to have faith. You're still sprouting off, you know, where you're still growing. You know, a tree, you see the biggest trees, they're still growing. Even at a small pace, they're still fucking growing. All right. So my main thing is have faith. Things might not be going your way. You might not be able to pay your bills tomorrow. You might have lost a family member. But if you have faith, you know, you'll sprout out of that darkness and you're going to be a big fucking tree and you're going to grow.
Yo,
I like that. Yo, that was hot.
I can't wait till the episode comes out so I can replay that, go back a couple seconds, replay it again, I
can be here all day long, man. I said it the other day on my Instagram. I was like, listen, even a grape has to be crushed to become wine. All right? All the grapes are the same. What you know?
I love that.
So if you feel like I tell people, you got to go through shit, man. Because people don't realize that you have to go through this to become the person you're supposed to be.
Yeah, man.
Right? But if you don't embrace what you're going through, you're never going to be the person you were supposed to be, destined to become.
Yeah, man. And it's so powerful because, you know, the key piece with having faith and embracing this delayed gratification mindset, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you do, right?
Yes.
And knowing that what you're doing is going to work out because it's built, there's a plan in place, right? That's built on some goals that have a clear picture on why they're important. All these different things fit into one another, and it comes down to what you do. And oftentimes when we get punched in the mouth by life, because it happens, when things don't go our way, that happens. When we encounter pain or tragedy, it happens. When those things happen, we got to be able to say, okay, I still got to have faith that what I'm doing and what I'm going to continue to do is going to pay off.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that gratification. And to your point, I'm not willing to take a little bit of gratification now, knowing that continuing to put the work in is going to give me that supreme prize that I'm looking for, that I'm chasing after. And that, to me, is a beautiful way to look at life. Because I think so many times people get stuck on their thoughts. Like, their thoughts impact the fact that they don't do things.
Yes.
Like, they tell themselves, like, I can't. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Why isn't shit working out for me? When is it going to work out for me? And these are all questions that you can't fucking answer.
And again, it comes back to the way you communicate with yourself. You know, you can allow things to make you better or make you bitter, right? Now, it comes down to this in life. You either blaming or you're crediting. Now, I'm going to say the same sentence twice, and both are going to be clearly evident on what category they go to. I am who I am because of what I've been through, or I am who I am because of what I've been through.
Fuck yeah.
Right? One is blaming, one is crediting. So if you credit what you've been through, your perspective and your mindset changes. And then you're going to realize that things are not happening to you, they're happening for you.
And you know what's crazy? You said the exact same thing, but you didn't. You just said it in a different way. And a lot of people don't think that matters. Like, the way that they speak to people, they don't think that matters. But it matters so much.
It's everything, literally.
And I can speak to someone that's changed, that's seen the way that you speak has changed, right? Like when we used to interact with one another, it was like one or two words. You didn't really say much. Kind of were slouch. Now you're
not really paying attention.
Yeah, but now you've got command of the room. You're speaking as if you are like you're here. You're present.
You're present.
And I think the thing that I've noticed, especially with to your point about changing the way you speak, you've developed a whole mentality around that. Like Blanca mentality is. I've loved watching the way that it's manifested. And I think the beautiful thing is you're figuring out how to explain it to people. And it's wicked to watch because the beautiful thing about growth, and this is something that's I've always felt, is once you get to that place where you're like, yo, shit's starting to make sense. Shit's starting to really go my way. I like this. And it's not to say that things are easy. Things are still always going to be hard. But you can come to a point where you're like, you know what? Like, this is how it is. Yeah. I'm supposed to go through these difficult times. Yep. I'm supposed to go through times when I'm like, fuck man, is it working? Doubt's normal. It's gonna come. Yeah. But when you come back to a mantra or affirmations or a philosophy that guides your life, what you're thinking in that specific moment doesn't matter. Yeah. And how you're feeling in that moment doesn't matter. And as people that have understood that, it's our fucking responsibility to tell other people. Yeah. Because I wish somebody would have told me the things that I know now 10 years ago. Yeah. I wish, man, like there's so many times I used to beat my head against the fucking wall. Like, yo, I am working 23 out of 24 hours a day. I barely sleep. I barely eat. I'm fucking grinding. Gary Vee's telling me I gotta hustle. I'm fucking hustling. When the fuck's this shit gonna pay off? And I learned that I was on a hamster, I was a hamster on a hamster wheel, running and running.
So you were busy, but you weren't productive.
I was busy, but I wasn't productive.
So the thing is with that is, if you sit in a rocking chair, you can rock all day long. You're busy, but you're not getting anywhere.
I love that.
All right? So I'd rather go slow in a wheelchair than fast on a rocking chair.
Yeah, you got some.
All right?
That was good.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And what you were just talking about is something I like to call frame of reference. Okay, so taking it back to the races. Why do I do the races? Why do I enjoy doing the races? Frame of reference. I change what I perceive as difficult. Okay, so when I did the 52-kilometer race, I can't explain how much pain I was in. I was hallucinating. I was hungry. My ankles and knees were seized up. But one foot in front of the other, I made it across that finish line after 13 hours. Okay? I think it was maybe 6 weeks after I got into a really big car accident. Car was literally folded in two. Fireman was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I got cuts and bruises, but I'm good." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I'm good." Because I had changed mentally what I perceive as difficult. All right, I came out that car and I was like, I'm good. Like, this could have been worse. This could have been worse. I've been through worse. All right. So when you change what you perceive as difficult, you feel like you're always equipped for what's to come.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. That's why failure to me is a necessary part of the equation. Because through failure, you learn. Yeah. And when you learn, you get more tools, you get more experience. Yeah. And your frame of reference, like you just beautifully put, changes. And if your frame of reference evolves and grows and continues to exceed what you thought was possible, obviously your life is changing. Yeah. Obviously, it's a given. I love that. I fucking love that. Fuck, man, where do you want to go now?
Sick, man. All right. Okay, so you're an elite trainer, right? You see lots of clients. Yeah. Some stick with you. Some probably fall off. But you've probably seen like a lot of lives changed.
Yes.
And a lot of bodies changed.
Yes.
What is the key to the success, to making the change happen?
Habits and dedication. All right. Like there's going to be times when my clients don't want to come in. All right. But it's up to me as an elite trainer to keep them accountable. So that's my habit, to keep my clients accountable, keep them dedicated, keep them motivated, make sure they're on track, make sure I'm communicating with them. And from a client's shoes, I instill in them that faith that we've just been speaking. So there's going to be days where my clients message me like, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm going away next week and I lose this. I gotta change their mindset that you're going to get results, but you got to put in that work. It's one step at a time. It's one day at a time. Okay. Yeah. Like stay consistent. You're never going to see a condo being built from the top. It's the ground up, one brick at a time, one work at a time, one rep at a time. And when they have that mindset, they'll always have faith and they'll get results.
Okay. I love that. Now, and when we are thinking about our audience, right? And I'm a big fan of making sure that our audience gets tremendous value out of listening to our episode. So let's think of that person that's listening right now that doesn't have a personal trainer, that doesn't have an elite personal trainer, right? What would you tell that person? How does that person make change something that they can conceptualize and then realize? How can they do it?
If that person who's listening to this and watching this has not switched off yet, they would have already got enough knowledge from this whole podcast and video to know what to do. Because between the three of us, I think we've given them value to make changes.
I agree.
Right? But one thing that we haven't touched base on, and one thing I will tell people is, don't be afraid to switch off. Don't be afraid. Like we spoke about burning up. Mm-hmm. We need to internalize. We need to. We're being given so much information from the outside, but we're not getting information from the inside. That's why in the morning routine, I like to sit there and I internalize, right? Like we've been through the Stone Age, we've been through, the Dark Ages and the Industrial Phase and the Great Depression, the Generation X and Y, millennials. I like to call this day and age the notification era.
I love that.
Okay? And I hope that sticks. I hope that term gets coined. And let me explain that. My watch is connected to my phone. My phone's connected to my laptop. My laptop's connected to whatever. People message us, bing, 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 bing. We're so busy checking our notifications, we're not present anymore. Mm-hmm. My elbow starts to hurt. That's a notification for me. But when your body starts to hurt, people are so they gotta think twice. Oh, I'm okay. It's all right. It'll shake it off. Yeah. That's a notification. Take care of yourself.
Or people just stop using it.
Exactly.
My shoulder hurts. I can't work out.
Exactly. So my thing is, I like to question people. I like to ask people, when was the last time you switched off all your devices and just sat still and were present? All right.
Most people would fucking struggle with that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Notification era. That's the era that we live in, unfortunately, right? Yes, social media is an incredible tool and I love it. And I tell people, if social media isn't for you, don't go on social media and complain about social media. All right. All right. So my main thing is switch your phone off, switch your watch off, switch everything off, and just kind of internalize and just kind of find out who you are. Acknowledge, like chess, acknowledge where you are, where you need to be, and have the courage to take action.
I love that, man. I love that. And there's so many people that won't admit that they're addicted to their fucking devices. And the way that I think about this, the way you put it, notification era, in terms of it being an addiction, I think if you are constantly reaching for your phone to check if you got a message or checking to see how many likes you got
on a post, gratification, right?
If you're being pulled to do that, remember, I'm big on I am what I do, right? And if what you do is at the mercy of a device, you're a slave. You're a slave to the device. Mm-hmm. And if you're a slave to the device, what does the device want? Does the device want you to succeed in life? Does the device want you to be your best? No. The device wants your fucking attention. So, of course, the notifications, like you talked about, I love the way that you put that. To me, it's so clear that devices that we have, as much as they're a tool and necessary in the world that we live in today, we have to be careful, be mindful of how we use these devices. Yeah. If we are just living at the mercy of them and just being pulled in towards all these fucking applications that are pulling us in, we're slaves.
Like we gotta be in control. You gotta control the phone. Don't let the phone control you.
There you go.
Fuck yeah, man. Awesome. That's why we talk about. That's why continual growth is all about owning your life. Mm-hmm. And I think the big mistake that we've made in society in general. And to me, it's funny. Like they'll say that millennials are lazy, which I think is fucking hilarious because they'll be like, "Oh, all they do is look at their fucking phones." Okay, what did our parents do? Look at fucking TVs and computers. Like, what's the difference? Like, it's just people not doing shit. They're not lazy. Our generation isn't lazy. We're just not doing as much as maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago when it was like you had to go to school and then in the evenings you had to go do shit. You had to go work for your parents at the shop or go to the fucking farm and do shit. You had to do shit. There was no just sitting back not doing fuck all. And the big mistake that I think our generation makes, especially people coming up, the generations after us too, is on top of not understanding how to set goals, on top of not understanding, gaining clarity on why those goals are important, they just don't do shit.
Don't do shit. I know. And you know what? Funny story. So we sat there and this kid was talking to this older man about, our generation is better than yours. We have the internet. We have, all this stuff at our disposal. We can play video games with people across the planet. Your generation didn't have that. And the older man was like, yeah, I know we didn't have it. That's why we invented it.
Straight up.
There you go. So this generation, like, they're entitled. They have everything at their disposal. But what is our generation going to do to further the next generation?
Right? And that's why, you know, I'm a big fan of you know, what we're doing here at Continual Growth, but also what you guys are doing over at Project Rise and what you're doing with your movement. Because to me, it's our responsibility. I said it earlier. It's our responsibility to communicate what we've learned. And if we've gone from a place where we felt like everybody else, and now we're at a place where we don't feel that way, it's our job to pull as many fucking people out of the matrix as possible.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Man, I fucking love this episode. This was a good episode.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No, we've been talking about when we first kind of got into the idea of getting guests on. You're one of the first people that we identified because the way that you look at the world and the way that you so eloquently put your thoughts out there, I'm like, wow. Like sitting here, I've learned a little bit, and I know you. I know what you share. I know what you're about. So it's wicked for me to get that insight into a little bit about how your brain works. But I'm really looking forward to people hearing this episode and being like, wow, that I learned something.
So how can people find you?
Social media, email. I'll be in the gym.
Yeah. You're mostly on Instagram?
Yes, sir. Instagram, Train with Charan.
Train with Charan. Okay.
Train with Charan. That's dope.
All one word.
That's dope.
One word, yes.
Okay, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode with our good friend Charan here. We're really hoping that you guys got some value from this episode, and you know, it's our job to make sure that we provide that. And in exchange for what we are confident has been really good value, it would mean a lot to us if you would do 3 things for us. The first thing would be if you haven't subscribed to the podcast already, it would mean a lot to us if you would do that. And the second thing would be to leave a review. The way that these platforms work is they broadcast the podcast to a larger audience based on the number of subscriptions, based on the number of reviews. So it would mean a lot to us if you would do that. The last thing would be to tell a friend. This movement is built off us continually growing the number of people that are part of it. And the way that we do that is by focusing on what we do, making sure that we're developing habits in our lives that hopefully the people around us are going to recognize. They're going to see that and they're going to be like, man, I want that. And when they ask you, how can I be like you? You got to tell them it's about continual growth. It's about your habits. It's about living your best life through the development of those habits. And with that, kill every day and own your fucking life.
Bless up.